What's going on, everyone? This is Fred, fredyen.com, and today I'm going to show you how to swirl paint. Now this is a really cool technique that allows you to give practically any item a custom look. Now we are using the borax method for this swirl paint, and the object that I'm swirling is this. This is a custom electronic cigarette. I have a step-by-step guide on how to build one of these on one of my other channels. So if this is something that you're interested in, go ahead and check out that video. But let's not waste any more time, let's start swirling. Alright, so here's everything that you need to do your own swirl paint. I will go over every item one by one and also place some links down below so that you can get started on your project. So the first item that you'll need is paint. Now I recommend using Humbrol enamel paint. Now they come in many different colors. I have orange, black, and white. Now the nice thing about these paints is that you do not need to thin them. You can use them as is. Now you also want to spray a primer on whatever object you plan on swirl painting. This will give that object a better surface for the swirl paint to stick to. Just make sure that you choose a flat primer. You don't want any gloss on this. And to protect the finish, I like to use some automotive clear coat. And of course you'll need an object. Now this is an aluminum project box. Now I'm using this for another tutorial that I'm doing on a different channel, but I'm going to use this as a demonstration for how to swirl paint. Now you also want to pick up some painter's tape. We're going to use this to mask off any part of the object that you do not want swirled. You'll need to get a bucket to fill with water. Now you want a container that's large enough for you to fully submerge your object below the water without touching the bottom or the sides. This is just an old trash can, but you can use any container that you like as long as it holds water. It would also be a good idea for you to pick up a water heater. Now this is just a tank heater for a fish tank. Now the reason why we want one of these is because the water in your bucket should be around 78 degrees. Now this will help you achieve that temperature as well as maintain it. Now since we're using the borax method for this swirl paint, you're going to need to pick up some borax. Now this is going to be added to the water in the bucket and it's going to help the paint to float on top of the water. Another good idea is to pick up some plastic pipettes. Now we're going to use this to help us flow the paint onto the surface of the water. This will give you much more control over the droplets. And finally, you'll want a stir stick. Now this is going to help us move the paint around and give us a nice swirl. You want something flat like this and not rounded. So once you get all your supplies, the first step is to mask everything off. So as you can see, I've masked off all the holes, the screw holes, and I even made a little handle so that I can dip the object into the water in a controlled fashion. After that, go ahead and spray the primer. Okay, so while you wait for your primer to dry, fill your bucket with water. Make sure you accurately measure how much water you put in your bucket. Now you may notice that I actually lined my bucket with a trash bag, and that's only just to make cleanup a little bit easier, but that's completely optional. Once you have your bucket filled and measured, go ahead and place your water heater inside the bucket. And make sure you follow the manufacturer's instructions on how to set the temperature. So like I mentioned before, the best temperature to be at is 78 degrees. So while I wait for the water to be at the perfect temperature, I'm going to start mixing in the borax. So I'm just going to take some of the water out. I'm going to heat this up in the microwave and add in my borax. And for the borax, we want to mix in 1.5 tablespoons per gallon of water in that tub. So that tub has 2.5 gallons of water. So I'm going to be mixing in 3.75 tablespoons of borax. So I got my small mixture of borax and water, and I'm just going to pour it back into the bucket. Just try to get the borax as dissolved as possible. And then once it's in the bucket, take your stir stick and just mix it around a little bit. It may be a little cloudy at first, but just leave it in there and let it settle. So I'm just going to leave it in there for a few more minutes, let everything settle, and then we can start swirling. So I have my project box and the primer is completely dry. The water in the bucket is at the perfect temperature, and I'm actually going to remove that heater before applying paint, but other than that, we're ready to go. Okay, so here's the paints I'll be using for this project. Now these are Humbrol enamel paints. Now they do have a gloss finish, and that's what you're looking for. I will be applying these paints to the water with these plastic pipettes. Now typically you want to add the darkest color first. In my case it's black, and then it's going to be orange, and then finally white. Alright, so I'm going to add in the black. Now when you are doing this, just take your time. There's no reason to hurry. Okay, and then I'm just going to layer in my orange. Put some more black. Put in a little bit of white. I don't want too much white. All right, I think that's good. So just take your stir stick and slowly move it around. And again, guys, just take your time. All right, so I think that looks good. Now when you put your object in, you want to angle it. You don't want any flat edges directly going into the water. So just angle it. And if you move side to side, you'll get more of a wavy look to it. All right, so once it's fully submerged, I like to take my stir stick and just move the paint away. Once the top of the water is clear, all right, there it is, your finished swirl paint. Now you want to let this dry, and then once it's fully dry, then you would hit it with some clear coat. So I'll be back for that. All right, so here is the completed project. As you can see, it's a very nice swirl. I'm very happy with it. Now I did apply the clear coat on it so you have a nice glossy finish. But overall, this was a very simple thing to do, and it came out really nice. And if you're wondering what I was making, this is a DNA box mod, which I have a full tutorial on a different channel of mine. But other than that, you're pretty much done. So as you can see, you get a really nice custom finish to this. And you could do this on just about anything. Guitar bodies, picture frames, etc., etc. And it's actually pretty simple. But hopefully this video has helped you out along the way. Be sure to check out fredyan.com for more details. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.